All right, I think we're live.
We're live.
We're live.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the Nano Prep webcast, live from NaNoWriMo HQ.
That's right.
It's a beautiful day here in Berkeley.
Yeah.
For once.
Bobby is here. He wants to learn how to write a novel firsthand.
Yeah.
So he's looking at Nick's screen.
I was going to say, does he have hands? But he's got
He does.
something approaching
that. Very
tickles
tiny,
maybe once in a
very
while.
tiny little hands.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm Catherine Grip. I'm the communications manager for NaNoWriMo.
I'm Nick Fierro. I am the editorial programs intern here at NaNoWriMo.
And I'm Grant Faulkner. I'm executive director at NaNoWriMo.
So
Hello.
we'll be your hosts today for this webcast. If you have questions for us, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll try to scroll through and answer whatever you guys have. Also, as we go through, if you have other things you want to share, word counts or what you're writing about, feel free to put it all in the chat. We really love hearing from you guys.
Love the chat.
Oops,
Oops, I will mute.
mute it so that we're not listening to ourselves talk.
Perfect.
Yeah, sorry.
Perfect.
Great.
Somebody says it's blurry. I don't know if that's
we're blurry people when we're in our nano prep mode.
I'll take off my glasses.
We are ready to move with such speed.
Writing so fast,
Yeah.
or maybe it's like our
you're not missing much.
Our superhero alter ego. We're just slightly blurry, so you never really know if it's us or not. Don't.
The chat is blurry too. It's going so fast.
A lot of people do say it's blurry. Uh-oh.
That is true. I'm not sure if we can do anything about that.
Yeah.
We will try to work on it.
Webcams aren't known for being able to focus very well.
We'll try to envision clarity.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. We'll try to work on that, but in the meantime, just maybe
the content's what's important.
Step away from your screen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we have
a tech troubleshooter coming up the stairs right now?
We have a guest star.
Yeah, Tim Kim.
Guest star Tim Kim.
We flew Tim Kim out.
She just landed.
Let's see.
Wipe off the lens.
Wipe off the lens.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's the issue.
We can try it.
Tim is Googling blurriness on YouTube Hangouts right now.
He's desperately trying to figure out our secret identities.
And right now, I know that some of your novel ideas are very blurry. And so we're trying to match that sort of with our visualization techniques.
Yeah. Maybe it'll come in focus.
But everything's going to get less blurry as we go on.
Oh, hey.
Is that better?
Did that work?
All right. I think that might have fixed it.
Tim fixed it, man. Under a minute, I was timing it.
He's the real hero here.
All right. Should we carry on?
Cool. Yeah, let's carry on.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, welcome. Now that we're in clear full view. So today's prepcast is to help you prepare for writing a novel in November, because that is a very, very big undertaking.
Huge undertaking.
So today we're just going to be going over, you don't have to worry so much about how many words you're writing today, because it's not November yet. You don't have to worry about that. But just getting back into the swing of things, if you haven't picked up writing in a while, that's true of me, maybe some other people here. It's a good way to get back into the swing of things, get writing, start organizing your thoughts and your ideas and stories for when you start writing.
Yeah, I think this is the most fun part of novel writing, because all is possibility.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's beautiful.
You can do all those things like casting your characters and drawing maps and not feel guilty about it because you're taking away from writing time. So today it'll be a little bit different than the virtual write-ins we usually do. So virtual write-ins we do once a week through the month of November, and we do some kind of word sprints to help you get words down, get inspiration, just to try out some new prompts. So we'll be doing a little bit of that today, but there will be some more focused discussion on how do you prepare to write a novel? What steps do you go through? What are some things that you can try out? So that's really what we'll be focusing on today.
That's right.
Yeah. And today's webcast is also brought to us by one of our sponsors, which is really great. And so thanks to Dropbox Paper for sponsoring this webcast
Thank you,
today.
Dropbox Paper.
Yeah, I think they're one of their new platforms they're launching. So it's supposed to be a really great place for creating and sharing documents together, and comes free with a regular Dropbox subscription.
Yeah, free.
So.
Yeah, I'm definitely planning on using it. I tend to use Dropbox a lot. It's definitely a good service. Especially this for like writing, I think is going to be invaluable to anybody hoping to write a good novel on the cloud.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Sweet. So we're super psyched. Oh, okay. So somebody asked what fandoms, and it might have been a general ask to people in the chat, but I am actually curious about what fandoms we are all a part of.
Oh boy!
Just before we get started here, I will say
we only have an hour though, right?
Well, yeah. quick, like 20-second rundown. I am a big Doctor Who fan. That is my fandom.
Oh man. Really loving Game of Thrones. I'm looking forward to Steven Universe being off hiatus, and I also like RWBY a lot. It's a good series. Yeah,
I'm a generalist.
Yeah.
I think I see on the surface of so many things. Terribly deep.
All right.
I'm a NaNoWriMo fan.
Okay.
Perfect. It's good.
There we go. This is the true fandom right here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it and get started. So the first topic we had down here is just how do you start writing a novel? We have this really great quote from Grant.
Oh yeah. Oh.
That's the other exciting thing that's happening today. Grant's new book just came out.
Yeah, this is it's called Pep Talks for Writers. Just to give some background to it, it's 52 insights, as they're calling them. They're kind of like short essays, though. And each essay ends with an action to boost your creative mojo. And the reason I wrote it, just to give some background, I talked to so many NaNoWriMo writers who have this fantastic, galvanizing, transformative experience during NaNoWriMo. They find themselves as a writer or a creator, and they want to keep going year-round. And it's so tough to do that. So these aren't necessarily post-NaNoWriMo essays. It's more like something to read, at 52, one a week, to just ponder your creativity and kind of galvanize yourself to keep going. Because I feel like if you've shown up to write for 30 days in November, like just keep that momentum going and make creativity a priority like the rest of the year. And that's kind of the purpose of the book. So the question here is about inspiration. And I think one of the most inhibiting things for writers is that some writers tell me they write, but they're waiting to be inspired, which I think NaNoWriMo has proven to be not a good method. So I'm going to read this paragraph that Nick chose. Inspiration is often characterized as a thunderbolt, a brilliant flash that strikes from the heavens, a eureka moment. And that metaphor certainly holds truth, because inspiration can be a sudden igniting force, random and illuminating and otherworldly, and even a bit dangerous. Yet I think of inspiration, at least the big gobsmacking moments of inspiration, as more like Bigfoot. Sightings of Bigfoot are rare, and he's so elusive that he can't be captured physically or even truly on film. So his very existence is in question. It's wonderful to believe he exists, because it's nice to think of the world as strange and beautiful enough to spawn such a creature. But if you go out into the woods and look for Bigfoot, you're not likely to find him. Just as you can't force sweeping gusts of inspiration to appear on any given day. So I kind of think, I think of this William Faulkner quote a lot, where he says, I write when inspiration strikes, and inspiration strikes every day. And I don't think he's talking about a big thunderbolt of inspiration. I think he means that he finds inspiration by sitting down to write. And I always tell writers, you find inspiration in the words you write on the page. It might not feel like that thunderbolt. They're kind of sometimes microscopic or very small. But one word usually, if not always, breeds a second word. One sentence breeds another sentence. So you just got to sit down and write, and inspiration will come. That's the main point. Hopefully Bigfoot will come too. I don't want to, like, if there, I'm a Bigfoot optimist.
I feel like he was hanging around during camp this year.
Yeah, sort of more Bigfoot sightings in camp. Yeah.
Yeah, but so that's today is the first day that book came
Today,
out,
yeah,
right?
it just actually came out. This is
That's
the
awesome.
publication date.
Yeah, and
It's in the NaNoWriMo store.
It is in the NaNoWriMo store.
Yeah.
So one thing we'll be doing today is all the prompts and the exercises that we'll be using will come from books that are written by NaNoWriMo folks or about NaNoWriMo. So you can, there's one prompt that you're like, oh yeah, that was great. I got so much inspiration from that. You can go onto our store and look for those books and get them yourself. And
3 books
throughout October.
Yeah.
And also some free workbooks that you can download as well. So, yeah, great. So speaking of inspiration, is that how you get your ideas? Is that how you get inspired?
I love this question because I feel like every author gets asked, where did you get that idea for your novel? And I've never heard an author say, oh, I got that idea from, this and this place. I think ideas, I think they're just roaming around in the world in your brain, and you somehow have a moment similar to inspiration where you're just attuned to something and you recognize it as a good story idea, and you develop an interest or a passion for it, so you keep following it. And I can't quote this exactly, but Neil Gaiman has this great quote where he says, writers aren't any different than anyone else. They're just more attuned to what makes a good story. They're more attuned to their daydreaming or their imagination. And so, those people who say I'm not a creative type or I don't have an idea for a novel, I think they're wrong. Everyone can come up with an idea for a novel, and that's what we're going to talk a lot about today too.
Yeah. Kind of jumping off of that, at least for me, I have found that inspiration can come from anywhere. It really just kind of matters on how you approach it. If you think about something and say, you know what, there's like a nugget of an idea right there. It's not an entire thing yet, but maybe if I combine it with this just totally different weird thing, maybe something will come out of it. I feel like writing and like idea generation, it's a bit like alchemy sometimes, where you're just like, hey, maybe I've got these two just, this whole jumble of nonsense, and maybe if I like mix it right,
Dr. Who goes
it'll end up just being something fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. So the novel I'm actually working on right now is one I've been working on for a little while, but I'm like really, really pushing for this November. I'm gonna finish the first draft finally. It's a story about like elemental magic, but I got the idea from it when I was with my dad, and we were going on this road trip, and we stopped in it's this place in Tennessee where you can go into a cave underneath a mountain, and there's this beautiful lake, underground lake that's so smooth it looks like there's not water because it just reflects the ceiling, so it just looks like a dry cave. And I saw that and I was like, oh, this needs to go in a book somewhere. And that's where the idea for my entire novel started. Just like this cave, and I was like, oh,
so you started with a place.
Yeah, I started with a place,
and then you thought, what story should go in this place?
And it just kind of came to me. I think I love Robin McKinley is one of my favorite authors, and she has this great quote about like this. She talks about the story council. There's like some invisible story council that like send down story ideas, and sometimes you just get them, and once you get them, you're like, okay, I can write this down.
That's great.
What about you? What are you guys writing for November? What are you planning to write?
Nick took a deep breath. Actually, we both took a deep breath in tandem.
Well, I am kind of on the fence between like two different ideas, one of which, funny enough, came from a dream that I had several weeks ago that I just woke up and I was like, that was a whole bunch of weirdness. Maybe that could be a good novel. So I ended up kind of working with it, and so it's now kind of taken the form of like a sort of semi like true crime sort of story. And we'll see where it goes. My background with true crime is non-existent, except for the fact that I've listened to like Serial and S-Town, both of which are great podcasts.
And that's all the background.
That's all the background you need. Is that the thing?
Let's not overestimate.
Exactly. No, but like that's kind of the thing. Is like one of the reasons why I'm so intrigued by it is the fact that I've never written anything like it before ever. And NaNoWriMo is as much about getting the writing down, getting the words done, as it is just trying something completely new. The other one I have is this kind of urban fantasy like adventure kind of thing that I've had rattling around for a long time, and I might decide, hey, I might just jump into that, but we'll see. I got a month, so.
I want to interject really quickly. Yeah. So Megan Smetzer asks, how do I include my family? My teen kids want to do this too. So we do actually have a Young Writers Program website, which is really cool. It was brand new last year, and we've been adding on so many new features throughout the year. So it actually includes a writing space on the website where kids can write, and it's got lots of cool extra dares and prompts and you can, if you're a teacher, you can create a classroom. It's really, really great. So if you want your kids to do it, if your kids are interested in writing, I would definitely tell you to sign them up for the Young Writers Program website.
I'm going to answer a couple questions here and tell about my novel possibility. Somebody asked, Kelmarie Narowitz, is announcing your novel this really a good thing? I'm going to say yes. The earlier the better, really. It gives you more chance to prepare. Also, it's something about commitment. Announcing your novel to the world makes you more committed to it, just in general, because people are looking at you and saying, how's your novel going? I actually have been collecting novel ideas most of my life, and I have a bunch of them in a folder, and I'm like, I don't need a new idea. I want to do one of my old ideas. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do this, but I've been thinking about this for a couple of years. It's a world where, people have actually been sleeping less and less since electricity was discovered. And so I started thinking of a world that is like horribly sleep deprived, where there's actually a virus that causes certain people to lose the ability to sleep very gradually. And so a certain percentage of the population is actually going crazy because of a lack of sleep. And so the world both has to take care of these people and search for a remedy, because it doesn't affect everyone. So I'm thinking of a father and son, where the son has the horrible contagious insomnia, and the father is a scientific researcher maybe, or something. So
sounds really cool.
That's all I got so far, but yeah.
Awesome.
I'm a lifelong insomniac too.
Sounds perfect for NaNoWriMo.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds perfect for our prompt going in. So if you missed the beginning of the webcast, we're going to be kind of talking about things that you can do to start getting ready to write in November, and doing also some writing exercises to get into that as well. Hopefully they should be kind of fun. But the first one we have on here is also a prompt from your book, I think, right?
Yeah, same chapter, I think.
Same chapter. Conveniently got it there. Yeah, this is each chapter ends with a action. It's called try this, and this is try this as an inspiration invitation. We're going to do this now, right? Take a few minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Write about what inspires you to write, whether it's the desire to create lyrical prose, escape this world, or explore your inner world. Think about the last time inspiration hit and how it came about. After you've written this short piece, focus on the things that inspire you to sit down and write on even the worst days. Your inspiration can open a pathway back to writing. And that's what's important for me, is that sometimes I think we can get too discouraged and walk away from our writing, even during the month of November, and not be able to come back. So if you know what your inspiration is and the why of it, it will help you come back.
Yeah. So, okay. So this first exercise prompt is going to be 5 minutes. We're going to set a timer here. And if you don't want to do it, if you're not feeling it, if you want to do something else, totally feel free to do that. But if you need some guidance or inspiration, do this. So just write down. It doesn't have to be coherent. It can be a list. It can be all over the page. Write down things that inspire you. So either ideas that you've had, things you've seen, places you've been, music, people, whatever. And try to generate a few story ideas from those. So just find those little bits of inspiration that will keep you writing even on your off days, things that you're really into.
Great.
So, all right.
You can include Bigfoot if you want.
All right.
You can include Bigfoot.
Bonus points.
Okay.
All right, so I will start a timer, and I'll let you guys know when it starts.
So 5 minutes, writing down just things that inspire you.
Yeah, in any form or whatever. Yeah. All right, ready, and begin.
Let's go.
Too loud.
Got about a minute and 45 seconds left.
I will give it to you. Oh no, I'm not. I don't know what you're dealing with.
And that's the time.
All right,
All
time's
right.
up.
Woo. Good job, guys.
Yeah. What'd you guys come up with?
Oh boy.
Also, you guys out there, feel
please,
free
please do
to.
share.
Yeah, let's hear
Well,
from our.
Yeah.
I think lots of people have been writing things that inspire them,
Mhm.
which is really great.
Yeah. Let's see. Feelings, insomnia. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Morning and afternoon walks. Exercise is always good.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean. Please go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think walks are sometimes underrated as a writing
Hmm.
tool, especially after you've been writing for a while, 2 or 3 hours. I've been trying to take a walk after long sessions of writing.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what amazes me is that you have all these breakthrough ideas
Yeah.
that wouldn't have happened on the page.
Yeah.
I tend to get them while I'm driving, but the problem is
That's good.
I gotta keep driving. Guys, don't write while driving. It's not safe.
Could get
I've done it.
a voice
Yeah.
I
memo.
confess.
Yeah, voice memos
Yeah.
maybe. Or like if you are like stuck in just totally stalled
Right.
traffic. Maybe not even then. I don't know. For me though, what I ended up coming back around to a lot was senses, like sensory stuff, especially sound and taste. I really like cooking a lot, but that's almost as much as I love eating good food.
Nice.
And so I found that a lot of my writing, not just my fiction, but just like everything else, there's a lot of talk about like food analogy, stuff like that. And so taste and kind of the feelings you get from eating something good definitely kind of comes into play a lot, as well as sound. Like I listen to a lot of music while I'm writing. I know a lot of people like can't listen to music while they're writing, and I've tried that. For me, I just got to have something going to drown everything out.
I can't listen to anything with lyrics.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I listen to a lot of jazz while I'm writing, and I think
Nice.
that's nice to kind of keep your energy going and keep a scene going that would have otherwise stalled.
I like Wandering Wombat's tip here. Finding a sentence or a paragraph or a page in a book that I need to reread 2 or 3 times just because that small section is so perfect.
Yes.
Inspires me to write. I've been doing the same thing. I've been keeping some of my favorite books close by, and I'll open them up randomly
Nice.
just to catch the rhythm of a sentence.
Like
How about you, Catherine?
I found myself like dividing into general categories, and the first one for me was nature. Definitely, I feel like I also still write all of my first drafts by hand.
In a very immaculately beautiful
yeah,
leather
my
journal.
mom gives me a new journal every year for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Which is great.
Super nice.
You can read your handwriting, right?
Most of the time.
See, I can never write by hand because I can't even read what I wrote. I wrote it 2 seconds ago and I can't even read it.
But yeah, so I mean, for me, the biggest thing is being out in nature and stepping away from a screen for a while. Actually, puts me in a big writing. But also just like people, like the people I'm around, noticing those little moments in every day that something is just kind of perfect and everybody does it, but once somebody does it, you're like, oh, I relate to that because I do that too. So those little things, learning new things and stretching my brain in that different way, like learning how to play a new musical instrument or something. New experiences, like going to a museum and like learning all about some topic that I had no idea what it was.
One definition of creativity is combining things that are disparate or disjointed, bringing them together. That's when creativity happens.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is like people taking old fairy tales and remaking them into something new, because it's taking something that everybody has some sort of stock in and creating something new out of it. So
well, I can't remember the quote exactly, but there's the quote about, you know, every story has pretty much been done before, but the important thing is, you know, the way that you're kind of presenting it, because only you can write it the way that you can write it.
That's perfect. And I think sometimes people at this stage, they will psych themselves out and tell themselves their story isn't original.
Right.
And
that doesn't matter.
You put your imprint on it and you make it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's
great.
It. Nobody can write like you can, except
very true. Awesome. Cool. Let's
maybe
jump
an
in.
AI at some point. I don't know. But.
Who knows? Let's jump into the next topic here. So one of the things that often comes up when people are trying to write a novel, especially for the first time, is what works and what doesn't. Because especially when you're writing a first draft, you're kind of going through the ideas and you're like, I could go this way, could go this way. I don't know. What should I do? And sometimes those decisions can get overwhelming because you have so many different directions you can go in. So just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't for you, for your writing. I think the next quote we have here is from No Plot, No Problem.
Oh, yes, we have that.
Over here, which is another NaNoWriMo book.
Written by founder Chris Beatty.
Yeah. Chris Beatty.
Also available in the store.
New edition just came out 2 years ago. So it's up to date. All the internet references are up to date.
Great.
You want to read this one?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I did not write down the page number, but that's okay. I have it on the outline. So the things that you appreciate as a reader are also the things you'll appreciate or like they excel at as a writer. These bits of language, color, and technique, for whatever reason, make sense to your creative brain. These are, in big capital letters, the things you understand. It seems silly to have to remind yourself to keep things you dislike out of your novel, but be warned, the stealthy entries on that list are vicious, cunning little buggers, and given the slightest opening, they will find their way into your book. So watch out.
Nice.
And I think what Chris is talking about there is we should write the things that we like to read, not write the stories we think we should read. You know, there's a big difference. I think sometimes people think that they should write a certain type of novel, but
I feel like sometimes there's even pressure on, like, I should be reading a certain kind of book rather than another kind of book too.
You should read whatever book.
Ray Bradbury says, like, I forget the exact quote, but he says, if you're not writing with gusto, why write, basically. So find something you're passionate about.
That's great. I when I went to college, I love young adult fantasy. Like that's my genre that I really love. And I went to college and I was like, oh, I'm gonna write. I'm gonna do creative writing. And so many people there, you know, were just like, oh yeah, we don't really know what this is because we're writing highbrow literary fiction. It's like, but I want to write young adult fantasy. So
if you want to write young adult fantasy, do it.
It took me a while to like figure out that was okay, that I wanted to write that, and that's what that's what I'm really passionate about.
I definitely had a similar experience in college, like when I took a lot of my writing classes, and who knows, maybe some of my friends from those classes are tuning in right now. Hey guys. When I took those classes, there was definitely a good mix of people writing about different things, and the big important part of that was that everyone was writing what they wanted to write. Maybe you would have started out with an idea that you said, oh yes, this is more appropriate for a college level writing class. But no, in the end, you're writing the stories that kind of come out of you, from whatever sources of inspiration you have. For me, I kind of started out writing more like typical fantasy stuff because that's what I always enjoyed writing, and then ended up kind of getting more into like magical realism, kind of like or more surreal stuff, and then kind of by the end of college, I was doing a lot more just kind of like grounded stuff that had at least one or two like major like kind of weird aspects to it, kind of. But yeah, it's interesting to see how your writing style develops over time, and that's especially true, over the course of 1 month.
I love. So somebody in the chat, Faith, said, "I recently realized that I should write a book that I could relate to."
Yeah,
I love that. I definitely think you should write books that you can relate to.
Definitely what we should. Yeah. I was getting sorry. I'm looking for a quote here too. Innis Descent asks, how does that work with writing for your audience versus writing for yourself? Which is a really good question. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by audience. I mean, people have different interpretations about that, whether you're writing for a particular person or a sort of like group of people. I do think, though, going back to writing, whoever said writing something I can relate to. I mean, I think I would say don't worry too much about your audience. I mean, your audience kind of is yourself.
Yeah. At least for now.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it kind of comes back to that. It's like if you can't relate to what you're writing, then probably nobody else is going to either.
Point,
so if you're trying to change your writing to make it relatable to a certain group, a certain group of people or readers, and you don't have any direct experience, even just like, with those little moments between people, it's like everybody has those interactions.
I like this quote in the chat, your vibe attracts your tribe. That kind of, in a way, is a good way of putting it. It's like the way that you kind of feel about your writing is going to, it's going to reflect.
I also like Joshua Wright said, edit for your audience, write for yourself.
That's good.
That's
man.
good
guys,
advice.
Join us on the webcast.
Good advice right there.
Fly here right now.
Please.
Yeah, I think the novels we connect with most, the best novels and the most meaningful in our lives are the ones that have been written from the author's heart. And that's why we connect with them.
Yeah.
And the author would write them no matter the novels if they got published or not. So
definitely.
Yeah. I read over the summer, I read a book of essays by Diana Wynne Jones, who wrote, among other ones, Howl's Moving Castle, which I also read this summer for the first time. Great book. Great book. There's no such thing as too old for like a children's book.
No.
But I read a bunch of her essays, and they're really interesting. And kind of the key point that kept hitting home was like, yeah, she was always writing like from her heart, and that came out very well. Throughout all of the books that she wrote.
You can tell with her characters. I actually recently reread one of her books, and so many of her characters, it's just like
they're warm and just good.
Yeah, like, they're so real. Like you can definitely see them.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's hop into the next exercise. So just thinking about all those things that you love reading, that you love writing. We're going to take an exercise also from No Plot, No Problem. So from that chapter, it says, identify the things that make your own favorite novels tick. Write them down in one column. In another, write the things you dislike seeing in novels. Try to think about why those elements work and how you can incorporate them into your novel. So again, if you don't want to do this exercise, you don't have to, but if you just want to join in the writing sprint, that's cool too. But
I think you have to. Or change the rules right now.
Okay.
You have to do
all right. Executive director has spoken.
No, I think it's a really good exercise to not write the things you think you should write, and to write the things you like.
Yeah. Okay.
It's nice thinking about the novels.
You want to see,
right? Yeah. So let's write just again off the cuff. One column things you like about seeing in novels or what you like to write. One column things you don't like. All right.
Yeah.
We got our.
All right. We got a timer ready. All right.
And it's gonna be 5 minutes again.
5 minutes again. I'll let you know. Time about halfway-ish, and then when it's up. So ready, and begin. Got about 2.5 minutes left. And that's the time.
All right, time.
Wow.
So in the chat, maybe tell us some of the things you like, dislike. I see that a lot of people have already started to do that, which is great.
Anti-heroes.
Anti-heroes are great.
A lot of them were
Second
some of the same
person.
things that I put
Rolling
down.
in.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't
were
like
some of
big
the,
words for the sake of sounding smart.
um,
Somebody calls them $1 million words. I heard that phrase recently.
nice.
In regard to me.
The sources, the sori are important, but don't use them for every word.
I was saying that somebody was putting down love triangles, and my very first thing that I put down on my dislike list was useless love triangles.
Oh yeah.
I'm so sick of them.
Yeah, my top. Sorry, no water bottle. I gotta stay hydrated,
Fine.
guys. That's
Yeah,
important,
it
even
is
in this
important.
weather. My top one was second person narration. I don't know. It's not.
Why
I
has second person narration?
Well, the one that had it that actually worked, I think, pretty well was N.K. Jemison's the 5th season. She did that, and that was cool. But I think it's hard. It's really hard to pull off second person. And I feel like 90% of the time when I see it, it just ends up not being so good. And it's kind of the question is like, why do you there has to be a good reason for it, I think. What are some things you guys liked?
Reading the list here, I think there's some great things.
Yeah.
It's just moving so fast
It is.
here.
It's moving very quickly.
2 stories subtly yet effectively woven to tell perspectives of the same story.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put that down, but I like that too.
That is good.
I love like the second person narration puts you only in the character's head. Pretty much, it's almost like an interior device.
Yeah.
But I love like multiple perspectives, especially when they're in conflict.
Yeah. Good like natural dialogue. I think it takes practice, I think, is what I found, to get like good kind of natural sounding dialogue. And especially when you're writing NaNoWriMo, it's easy to get in just like a dialogue train where you're just having people going back and forth off each other. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's important to kind of make sure that a conversation has an ending, because most conversations have endings.
I think the thing is they actually don't make your dialogue natural.
Really?
Make it dramatic.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of people write natural dialogue, which is how we speak.
Yeah.
But if you did a transcript of how we speak, it wouldn't be that interesting.
It's so weird.
Right.
So it's about like kind of maintaining that your novel's always creating its own tension.
Yeah.
There's got to be a balance.
I like putting ordinary people in situations that make them extraordinary.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that kind of went along with the dislike I have where there's some hero or heroine who we're told they're really special for some reason, but never really
Buy into it.
Yeah. It's like people keep, other characters around them keep saying they're really special, but you never really see why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I put down that was really important, I put it in all caps, is humor. And I think a story doesn't necessarily have to be like, it doesn't have to be a comedy, and it doesn't have to be like my particular style of humor. But unless, if everybody's just serious all the time, it kind of ends up being a little hard to kind of want to keep going in a story. Like if there's a certain air of just like lightness, at least kind of going throughout, or at least in, you know, key points, I feel like that makes a story a lot more fun to read. You know?
Oh, I love this quote by Ilse Davison. It says, I like when your heart breaks over real life moments.
Oof.
Real life hurts, and there's something about watching the struggles a character goes through, mirroring struggles in your own life. I love that.
Yeah.
I like this one. Tamara Bryant, dislike too many beautiful people.
So real.
Yeah. I feel like, there needs to be like, it should be on the front cover. Only 2 beautiful people in this novel. Yeah.
Or you could go the Scott Westerfeld route and just make an entire book full of ugly
Well,
people.
there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for one thing that
Ambiguous
I put down,
endings.
Oh, I love this.
times, yeah.
Do they die? Do they fall in love? Are there dragons? We'll never know.
Yeah. I love an ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
That's great.
I read a quote that said, literature is the question, not the answer. So I feel like novels should be all about the question.
Oh, this is great. I love all of the things that you
these are all really good.
And Lacey Phillips, sticking up for beautiful people, says, what about when the beautiful people have real insecurities? And
Even
Oh,
better.
we are not
do
here
like that.
to bash
I do like
them.
that.
Yeah. Beautiful people are people too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
This one's an interesting one from Mocha. I hate overly relatable characters.
Mm.
I don't know what that means exactly, but maybe they're too not
Maybe,
dramatic enough, or
yeah. I think
not dark enough.
my interpretation of that is characters that kind of seem to scream like, "Hey, I'm a regular guy, just like you, the reader."
Sort of like
None of us are regular people, though.
We're very unordinary.
Capacity for great drama and conflict.
Luckily, not in the office.
Yeah.
Just off screen, people are just
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I really like that exercise.
Yeah,
It's
it's a really
lot
good
of
one.
fun. I want to do more of that when I get home.
Yeah. So it's a really good one.
Yeah,
And you can find it in No Plot, No Problem.
That is true. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Tim is the one.
He says, Mocha says, yeah, kind of what the middle guy's saying. You're the middle guy.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
He'll be forever known as the middle guy.
The middle
All right,
guy.
I'm gonna
It's your
file
new
papers
nano
to
name.
change my name. Yeah. Perfect. Middle guy. All right. So should we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think one of the things that is difficult about going into November is taking all of these fun exercises, these ideas that you get to generate in October, and then turning them into an actual novel in November.
Oh yeah, there's the
That's
novel
hard
part.
right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a question of how do you bridge that? Like how do you prepare or go from those really nebulous ideas to actually putting words on the page?
Yeah.
And it's people have different methods. So a lot of you are probably familiar with this, but if you're not, a lot of Wrimos classify themselves as planners, so people who plan out their novel a lot in advance. Pantsers, people who fly by the seat of their pants, or plantsers, who are a little bit of a mixture of the two. What do you guys?
Do you want to tell who we are in this regard?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm very
Catherine.
curious. I would say I'm definitely a pantser. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I very, very rarely do much planning.
So you have your idea for your novel,
I have my
but
idea.
you don't spend October overly thinking about it or taking
I guess
notes.
not directly anyway. I have like drawn maps of my world or like created maybe I'm a plantser. Maybe I've got a little sliver, like 75% pantsing.
Okay.
25%.
It's usually a continuum of some sort.
Yeah. It's a spectrum.
Middle guy?
Hashtag middle guy. I think I'm a pathological planner. My problem is right. all the stories that I end up starting that I really like, or that I want to start, and I'm like, oh, here, I'll write this project, it'll be great, are ones that I overly plan, and I get like super caught up in notes and whatever. But I found, honestly, at least in the past, some of the stories that I've liked the most, just as a finished product, have been the ones where I was like up at 2 in the morning. I was like, I have no idea what this is going to be. I'm just going to start this based on some single detail and just go from there. And like, it's weird. Spontaneity, when applied properly, can work out in your favor. But yeah, this year I'm very much a planner. Maybe trying to go more.
Not just pure spontaneity. But
not pure
spontaneity.
Plan spontaneity. There you go. Yeah.
How about you, Grant?
Yeah.
So I have 2 takes on this. One is that I think NaNoWriMo is by its origins a creative experiment. And so I always advise everybody to do something different every NaNoWriMo to tweak your to tweak your creative process and kind of to explore it further. So I am not much of a planner. I envy people who plan. I admire them. I think it's amazing when I see Post-it notes in all different colors.
Oh, man.
Just tracking some beautiful map of a storyline or a meticulous outline. All of these things I cannot do. I've tried them and I've failed. And the reason I failed planning is that I feel backed into a corner. I feel like my story has become really rigid. And the whole reason I write is to explore the mysteries of a story. That's why, like when I said this, a novel is a question, not the answer. But that said, like if I pants too much, I feel like I run out of steam pretty quickly after about a week of pantsing. Even though I think pantsing is a type of planning. Like you're using your rough draft to plan. So I try to find that perfect balance in the middle, which I kind of call percolating or letting ideas marinate for a month and taking weird little scribbles and notes. Hopefully not in the car, but sometimes
not in the car.
Stop sign. But yeah, I feel like getting the ideas, letting them just be in your head for a month, and then I'm ready to go. What I really want, I should say, just to clarify, is not an outline but a trajectory for the story. I like to know kind of where it's going. Its direction, but not to know too much about it.
I think that's kind of what I do. I write until I get up to a certain decision point where I'm like, oh, I could go either of these directions, and then I make usually just like a little bullet outline of what I want to happen to specific characters or like events that I know want to happen, and then figure out how
we've revealed Catherine. She's no longer a pantser.
I'm a closet planner.
I was gonna say the more I think about it, I think the more firmly I'm in the planner camp personally. I was thinking like you're talking about having Post-it notes or anything. I was saying if you looked at my office during November, you'd think that I'm tracking down a serial killer with just the number of strings and things. I'm like, okay, this character does this and it has this effect. So
I do love big bulletin boards online or
they're great.
real to put up images, speaking of the serial killer, like a big police board.
That's pretty true crime. But I mean, definitely this year I'm going to try and do more of just spontaneity.
Let's see what people are saying on
highly encouraged.
Somebody is asking what your name is.
Okay, I'm middle guy. Sorry, no, I'm Nick. That's my name.
Nick, the middle guy.
Yeah, I'm the intern.
Oh, and it looks like there's also pants in English slang is underwear, as we would call it as Americans.
So you're going by the seat.
That's even better.
Yeah,
even better.
I think that speaks to NaNoWriMo pretty well.
Underwear your novel. Underwear is a verb.
Yeah, I like it.
For pantsers who don't outline at all, what's the alternative? How do you keep your story moving that roadmap? Kind of having stepping stones along the way, or at least a few ideas to kind of draw from.
I think Catherine's little bullet point idea. That's what I like. A sketch.
Not
an outline, but a sketch.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah. Well, in case you want to try out some more hardcore planning or outlining, I know a lot of people are big hardcore planning. I know a lot of people are big outliners, and that is something that can be useful, but I think I sometimes wish I could do more of. But the next little exercise we were going to do, we've actually taken from our Young Writers Program workbook. Which can be found free on our website.
For free.
You can download the PDF and it's geared towards high schoolers, but there are so many really great
show this too. This is
Oh yeah,
our
for
third
sure.
book called Ready, Set, Novel, which takes a lot of those exercises from the Young Writers
Oh,
Program.
nice. Great.
I think it has some similar ones and
Okay.
a lot of new ones too. But
Awesome.
I used it, speaking of doing things new, I used this one year to do my Nano novel.
Great.
And I loved just using it because it was different and new.
That's
Really
so
cool.
pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but so we actually ended up taking one of the exercises from the workbook and printing it out. So a lot of you have seen the sort of rising action, climax, falling action, bell graph that you learn in English high school classes about how the plot of a novel moves forward. And it's a similar kind of thing that we did here, except it's a roller coaster, which is a lot more fun. And I think it's a fun way to think about your novel instead of just like, oh, I'm going to graph
Anticipation.
Yeah.
Anticipation.
trying to really get that swoopy feeling in your stomach as you get to the climax point of your novel.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to take a few minutes and kind of fill in sort of a similar thing. And you can either, use something similar to this.
If you guys are watching and you have the Young Writers workbook or something available, it's on page 32, I think, of the workbook.
I think so. Yeah.
So like if for some reason you happen to have that, that's where it is.
Yeah.
Just some seconds.
But just taking the next 5 minutes to create some sort of outline or plan for your novel that you're going to be doing, even if you're a pantser, even if you're just like, I'm just going to sit down and write whatever comes into my head. Maybe just figuring out plot points that you want to happen or characters that you want to appear.
You could even think of it, if you don't have characters in mind for this year's novel, you could think of charting the roller coaster ride of one of your favorite novels.
Yeah, that's a good one.
How that anticipation increases, and then how you have the big
Yeah. So you could do Harry Potter or something like that.
Yeah.
But so just taking a few minutes to get into that mindset of thinking, how do I create this arc for my novel? All right.
Good.
Cool.
So as usual, this is going to be a 5-minute exercise, and we'll let you know about halfway through.
Yep.
So ready?
Ready.
And set. Novel. Ah,
Where'd you get that?
it's a good title. You guys are about halfway. Oh, and that's the time.
All right, time's up.
All right, stop beeping.
Cool. Yeah. So in the comments, you can tell us how that went for you, or if you have a specific kind of writing style or outlining style that you prefer. How'd that go for you guys?
Super great.
Awesome.
Except the down part of the roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
Hard
We got
part,
pretty
yeah.
much the top. It's always that last. Like, what really happens?
That actually, it was really
It's tough.
helpful for me, that down part of the roller coaster,
Yeah.
because my up part was kind of like epic battle. And then I was like, oh, but then they need to figure out how to rebuild from that and like create a new community. So,
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, mine is, I think what I'm going to go for, I started trying to outline this, this like urban fantasy kind of one. And the thing is, I have envisioned like a bunch of different kind of like main characters kind of jumping between them. So there's like 5 different plot lines to keep track of. But the challenge there is like trying to figure out, okay, here's how they interact, and as they all build up to like a climax,
Nice.
being a single one. Yeah. But I'm definitely excited to see how that one goes. I'll let you know if
Cool.
it crashes and burns. But
Cool.
yeah. What about you guys? Let's see. Hero's Journey is always a really good one to go with.
Yeah.
It's like
Like Ignis Leo said, the roller coaster needs more than one hill, which I like.
Good observation. Yeah, I need some curly.
What about a loop-de-loop?
Yeah, right.
Little
What would
loop-de-loop.
that be?
Going on different tracks. I know we need a novel and roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can get like Great America to build that for us.
Yeah, that would be so great.
You know.
Via Davies says, I like using flashcards.
Flashcards are really good. That's especially fun if you have a bunch of disparate kind of ideas, but not a single track. What you can do is just like say, okay, here's my deck of ideas and plot points, and I'm going to throw them in the air and then play a 52 card pickup, and then just see what order they come in. I feel like that's really fun if you're in the early stages and you're not really sure kind of what direction you want to go in.
I think like writing scenes down on note cards is a great plan.
Yeah.
Tool. Yeah. Nabokov wrote, I think, all of his novels like that. He just wrote things on little note cards. Yeah. Scenes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Rebecca Scott says, my huge struggle is how to get my main character from the rising action into the main climax. I know the motivation, but not the catalyst. which is an interesting problem to have. I think for stuff like that, sometimes I like using like little note cards or outside prompts. So it's like somebody else suggests something that happens, and it's something that you wouldn't think necessarily of ever doing, but you're like, oh yeah, I could make this work somehow.
Yeah, that's what's great about our word sprints.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to mention, I'm not following the total train here, but I see somebody mentioning Stephen King's book on writing, which is one of my favorites. And I think he relieves some of this pressure of the roller coaster. Like for plotting, at least, what he spoke about really resonated with me because I'm a bad plotter, is that he just writes about the tension in a situation. He doesn't really think of the roller coaster too much.
Nice.
Sure, it's somewhere in his head. But yeah.
It's really great. Cool. Well, we're running a little over time. I had one more exercise to do if you guys are down, and if you guys are also down.
Do we bring the?
We have the helmet.
Oh, good. Good.
So the very last thing that we wanted to do, and I think this ties into having outside prompts for when you're feeling stuck. So right now we have this really cool campaign going on where if you donate $30 or more to the NaNoWriMo store, you get this really awesome poster. So there's some other goodies as well, but this is a limited edition poster. So there are
30 prompts in 30 days.
Yeah, 30 prompts in 30 days.
Yeah,
so
it's like a game.
Yeah, it's a really great thing to have as you're writing. If you just, feeling stuck one day, you can put this poster above your desk and
here's the key lobby.
Use some of those prompts. So if you donate $30 or more to the NaNoWriMo store, you'll get one of these as long as we have them in stock, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But what we've done today is taken all of the prompts that are on the poster and cut them up on little pieces of paper and put them inside this helmet. And so we're going to draw one of these prompts out of the helmet and use it in our stories for our writing.
I'm going to let middle guy choose.
Yeah, middle guy.
But I will say why he's choosing. Some of these prompts are by really famous, wonderful authors like Maggie Stiefvater and
Diana Gall.
Yeah, some of them are by, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read them, but Dorinda Jones. Some of them are by, though, our Wrimos. From teachers and from kids in our Young Writers program. So they're all over the map. They're fun, actually. Daniel Jose Older has one. Marissa Meyer has one. Rachel Heron and Ian Fogarty.
Okay.
And now
we have a prompt.
Okay. All right. I like this one.
Good.
All right. So this one comes from Christina A., who's a NaNo participant, who suggested write about your ability to be able to talk to an alien colony near Earth and what you do with this ability.
Whoa.
So it can be you or a character if you've got one in mind.
That's
or
cool.
whatever. This is a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
I think it's going to be basically my ability to talk with my dog. Very similar to my ability to talk with aliens.
Stretch that.
Yeah.
We've done 7 minutes. We can do 5.
Yeah, let's do 5 minutes.
Right, 5. Okay, so again, the prompt is write about having the ability to be able to talk with an alien colony near Earth and what you do with this ability. So I'm going to start the timer. It's 5 minutes, starting right now. I'm going to write this one down. Oh, and that's the timer.
All right, time. Hands up. If you ended up writing about the prompt, tell us in the comments what you would talk to an alien about if you could, or what that experience would be like.
You want to say some people were saying they weren't sci-fi writers. I like Rochelle, my friend Rochelle's Bradley's comment. Angels can be aliens. Wide interpretation of what an alien is.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Hello, Rochelle.
Shout out. I found myself writing about, my first line was, you don't realize how much you rely on body language until you can't anymore. And I was just thinking about like how much we pick up from people's body language and how hard that would be if it were an alien who looked really different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up just kind of writing down like 10 questions, some of which are more serious than others. But I mean, my top was just, please believe me, we're better than this. But then another one was just like about like, how does this tech work? I'm just curious about like, okay, what do you guys hear? You know, what is it like? Question about like, what are we doing wrong? And I try to like act, you know, as gather like a good multinational like humanity hype squad of just like our best and our brightest. So Tom Hanks is there.
Nice.
To talk to the aliens.
That's the same approach. It's funny. Like I was just thinking how so many people think we think the aliens are smarter, that they've got the answers we don't.
Or like,
I know there are sci-fi stories that reverse that
Right.
as well, but it's funny. It's a funny assumption, I guess, that we have. But with the long lines of what you were saying, Catherine, I thought that trust had to be established for communication, and if there's no language or kind of common body language. Like I started off with my character who was working in the graveyard and sees this strange little ship, but communicating with like lights, with flashlights, like a Morse code, and developing trust, and then, you know, I guess body language comes from that trust somehow. And they slowly move towards communication. And then he's like, "Can you save us from climate change because you're smarter than us?"
User Wanderlust had an interesting idea. My protagonist loses her memory, so how would she talk to an alien when she doesn't know who she is? That's interesting. Like, I mean, like, talking to people it depends so much on like how you present yourself, and if you don't really know who you are, like that's gonna be that's a really cool one. I like that. Yeah, it's a good one. Good job.
Lauren Granger also said, I'd never written anything like this, but it was a lot of fun. My character was a girl who had been trained in the alien language to assimilate into an alien colony to save the Earth. So that's pretty cool. Awesome.
Cool.
So many good ones. Great.
Like the swap of humanity's wisdom in exchange for alien wisdom.
Ooh.
Like that. Here's our humanity wisdom.
Like trading cards.
Yeah, we got it.
That's really cool. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We are really, really excited to kick off the NaNoWriMo season here. By the way, if you haven't yet announced your 2017 novel on the NaNoWriMo website, you can do that. Just log in and go to your profile and you can make a new novel. If you came up with an idea during this webcast, then you can put that into your novel as well. And if you liked any of the prompts or books, anything that we were sharing, you can get those in the NaNoWriMo store.
When will our next webcast be?
Our next webcast, good question, middle guy. Our next webcast will be on October 20th. We're working with author Jack Gantos, which we're really excited about. He has a new book, I think, that has come out or is coming out called Writing Radar. So it'll be also a lot about how to prepare to write a novel. Which will be really cool.
Directly from him.
Yeah.
Seasoned author.
Yes.
Wisdom. A seasoned author.
Yeah, you guys have nicknames now, Right Lady and Left Dude.
Oh, yes. Right Lady and Left
All right, I'll go for Left Dude.
And middle guy. Don't forget, NaNoWriMo starts November 1st. Prepare. Be ready.
Plan. Pants. Do it all.
Do whatever you need to do.
That's what Blobby says.
Blobby says, do it all. Make sure you write in November.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining. This was a lot of fun. Bye.